So we started this whole cycle, not just to teach yourself hypnosis, which is a wonderful tool, and you've got it now pretty much. We started it in order to find out how do we apply this in order to increase our personal power, our charisma, shall we say, so that we can become better hypnotists, so that we can influence others better, right? So what we're doing now is we're talking about something called personal power. Have you ever noticed that some people are just so charismatic, so charming, you can't help it. You just want to agree with them. You just want to hang out and go, just tell me to do something, because I just want to do something. I don't know what. I don't know why. Just tell me, please, right? Or you just want to hang out with them. Or if they say, hey, could you please just burn all your clothes and run around the garden naked? Okay. Now, to some extent, we've met people like this, haven't we? And, sometimes when we leave their magical aura, we go and go, what the hell was I thinking? I don't do that sort of stuff. But then they come back and you go, yes, of course I'll do that. That's all right. That's an example of someone, actually, we say exuding this idea of personal power. It's kind of like a self-confidence. What happens is, think of it in terms of realities. That person has a sense of how the world is, and they're so sure about it that we can't help but doubt ourselves if it doesn't match their picture of it. Think about inspirational leaders. Anything from Martin Luther King, Mahatma Gandhi, or some corporate guru. Anyone ever see people lining up for days on end just for a little Apple product? Right? Why is that? It's because the same dynamic is going on. The personal power of the individual, their charisma, is projecting a sense of reality, a sense of how the world should be, and we're just buying into it. And there's nothing wrong with that, as long as, of course, that reality is useful to us, right? Now, wouldn't it be useful to figure out a way of doing that for ourselves so that we can switch it on at the right moment and, of course, turn it off when we don't need it? Wouldn't that be something?
Yes.
Or we can move on to something else. I can teach you about toenail painting if you want. Not very good, but I can teach you. You already know that. Maybe you can give me some lessons then. Essentially, what we're doing with personal power is creating this hypnotic context. What if the reality that we project is one that hypnosis is a powerful tool, it's a wonderful tool. You're about to experience hypnosis. And when you go into hypnosis, you're going to have an amazing experience, a good experience. If someone stepped into that as a reality, do you think it would make life easier or harder for you as a hypnotist? Any guesses? You guys don't seem very sure about it. Easier, maybe?
It's easier.
Is that a trick question? No, of course, it would be a lot easier. If they enter that reality, that's really what's happening when we have one person deep in trance and the other person looking and going like, what the hell? This person is experiencing a reality, which is called trance, to such a degree, there's no doubt in that person's mind, is there?
No.
So this person starts doubting their version of reality because how can they not? They have a perfect model of it right in front of them. So in terms of your personal power, if you can project that sense of reality, wouldn't that be useful in terms of having people respond to you hypnotically, right?
Yes.
Let's do a little exercise that will start building this into us, and we'll see if we can do a couple of layers of this. The first thing I want you to do is find a partner, and all I want you to do is take a few moments to think about, shall we say, a hypnotic experience you've had that was pleasant, or any pleasant experience. Then I want you to look at your partner, lock eyes with them. It may be a little uncomfortable for some of you. Just lock eyes with them and recall to the best of your abilities that powerful, pleasant experience. As though you wish that this person in front of you could have just as powerful, just as pleasant an experience as you did. That's easy to do, isn't it? You don't have to say anything. You don't even have to do anything. You just look and be. Isn't that easy to do?
Yes.
So go ahead and let's spend, actually first of all find a partner. When you have a partner, if everyone can stand up, when you have a partner, sit down. When you're sitting down silently, please, there'll be my cue to start a, shall we say, a 2-minute countdown for us to do this exercise all as one. Then we'll come back and we'll add something more into it. Is that cool with you guys? So everyone stand up, and by the time you're all sitting down quietly with someone, I'll know I can begin the exercise. Everybody please close your eyes. I'd like you to recall some pleasant experience, perhaps one in which you had a powerful transformational moment. Maybe you got really happy suddenly. A moment that's of significance to you. Something that was really pleasant and significant, meaningful to you. When you have it, I'd like you to relive it as much as you can. Enjoy it. It's the kind of experience that one would wish on anybody. It's that powerful. The content doesn't have to be the same. It's just having that powerful moment of meaningfulness or transformation. That's something that every human being would find of benefit. Really recall that experience to the extent that you can feel it now. Then go ahead and slowly open your eyes. Lock eyes with the person in front of you only as quickly as you maintain that feeling inside, that memory. And really wish or will that person in front of you to have the same experience, to feel just as meaningful. Focus all your attention on them and notice what happens. So who enjoyed that? Was that interesting? What kind of things did you experience whilst you were doing this, whilst you had someone looking at you that way? Anyone?
I actually re-experienced a moment when I was a freshman in college and playing my first ball game. I happened to get fouled on my last shot, and they were 1 point up, and so I got a 1-and-1.
Right.
So
That's pretty significant, right?
And my folks were there, so it was a good feeling.
Right. Now let me ask you this. Whilst you were recalling that on your own, compared to when you were recalling that with someone else looking at you, how do they two compare?
Okay. Actually, I felt it much more intensely on my own. I found it almost to require a little bit of effort when I was looking at Tim, and felt like I was in. As we stayed in the experience, I felt the longer we were in it, the more I was influenced, and I felt like I was picking up his energy, and that he was really intensely experiencing a moment.
So here's something important. You may have noticed, is that relatively common? Would you say that it was easier to do this on your own than when someone else is looking at you? What you were experiencing, I'll come to the alternative version in a moment. What you were experiencing is what we talk about, this idea of realities clashing. Someone else is projecting their version, and you're going like, oh, I'm trying to hold to mine, but it's a little different. Now, I'm not talking about this as a psychic vibe. I'm just talking about in terms of the experience, the sub-communication that's going on. We're very attuned to other people and how other people are reacting, and that's what you're experiencing there. Now, some of you may have actually had a stronger experience with your eyes open and someone looking at you, and that's usually because you've kind of surrendered to the moment and let their, shall we say, the intensity of their stare or whatever, augment whatever's going on inside you already, which is kind of what hypnosis is all about. Does that kind of make sense to you guys? Go ahead.
I had an experience that was completely outside of what my focus was on.
Okay.
Like almost immediately I went into a visual hallucination.
Yep. That's pretty common. Did anyone else see it's like distortions? Did the face of the person they were watching change? Maybe it was a lady suddenly she had a beard. It's like, what the hell? Or they get a young person who's really old, or an old person suddenly really young. It's like, wow, this must be the best screen cream ever. Did anyone else notice that? Right?
Yeah.
This is a very common thing. It happens a lot.
I don't know if you noticed, but our breathing synced up as well.
Anyone else notice your breathing syncing up? Right? What we're discussing right now, this is the H+ we keep talking about. It's this intense desire for the other person to experience hypnosis, and coupled with the intense desire for them to have a positive, beneficial experience whilst there, right? But it's important that we do this, or we do it this way rather. We don't expect them to have the experience, we want it for them. You see, if you wanted something from them, then you want it for yourself. You won't feel good until they have an experience. As opposed to wanting it for them, they can have the experience or not, it's irrelevant to you. And this is very important, because to the extent that you want something from them, well, let's face it, how do we normally feel when people want something from us? Do we like it? Beggar comes on the streets, give me some cash. All right, but I don't really want to. Has anyone here ever had a friend who's so eager to please, they annoy you? They just want to do stuff for you, and it's like, just go away already. Just live your own life. Have you ever had that? But think about it. Think how insane that is. They are willing to drop everything in their life for you. They're willing to make every wish come true. They'll run for ice cream at 4 o'clock in the morning, polish your shoes, clean your car. So it's kind of very handy to have people like that around, isn't it? So why don't we like that?
Because you're fulfilling a need for them.
Exactly. It's because you're fulfilling a need for them. They need something from you. They're doing this because unconsciously they want your approval and they expect your approval, and you feel put upon. You can't give your approval now. It's being taken from you. Does that kind of make sense? So it's very important that we don't want things from people. We just want it for them. And then your results start going through the roof. Does that kind of make sense? Now, who would like to have... Oh, go ahead, just pass the microphone down there.
Me and Chuck sort of went out yesterday to a pub, and we sort of got quite close and chatting and everything else. And it kind of meant a lot more for me to want him to have a good experience because of that.
Right.
Because we had that sort of relationship, and everything kind of blurred completely for me.
Mm-hmm.
All the whole room blurred, and we just sort of focused. And I saw his face smile, and I was kind of enjoying him.
Yeah.
Enjoying it. So it was good.
It's happened to me a lot. And by the way, when you can do this with a complete stranger, that complete stranger will have just as powerful an experience as you guys have been having with each other. And this is the point. That is exactly the point. This is the fuel that drives all the hypnosis stuff that we're doing. That's the difference between your hands are closing, 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 closing. And saying it in a way where people go, wow, oh my God, my hands are moving. Right? And think about it. Is this so important? We all clap every day. Right? So is this such an important thing really? No. Is the significance attached to it, and you're the one attaching the significance to it through your own mannerism, your own manner. Does that make sense? Who would like to find a way of cranking that personal power up another notch? Would that be kind of cool?